Now, before we start, I do have a question to ask you. As it sits right now, it's basically ready for paint. I need to do a lot more body work, body filler, but the fiberglass and the bulk of it's done. I have 5 different colors here on the hood that the spray source, Tommy from the spray source, made me custom. I sprayed them yesterday, and I need to choose which of the 5 colors I want to paint. So I have them from left to right, samples 1 through 5. Comment below what color you think I should paint this car based off those 5. I already have a favorite. I already have a good idea. But I am very curious what you guys like, especially with how much color shift is going on. Let me know what you think. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Shanks Racing Black Tie Detailing headquarters for another video. I am so excited to share something with the world. It's the most unique thing that I've personally ever done. We're gonna get straight to the point here. I'm gonna share and document the entire process so far of this car. This is my competition drift car. It's a 370Z LS3, full mil-spec harness, ECU masters, everything, dog box, quick change gearbox, front radiator, fuel cell, full race car. If you guys follow my Instagram, shameless plug, I have been documenting there that I have done what I thought was the world's first, but I'm the second, 400Z headlight swap on a 370Z. I was competing last year at LS Fest East in Kentucky, and long story short, my top 16 battle was against Taylor Hull. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a Formula Drift pro. He doesn't do it currently at the moment, but he was in FD. And he drove a C6. He reskinned his C6 into, I want to say it's a Monte Carlo, forgive me if I'm butchering it, but it's literally a C6 frame, chassis, everything, but he reskinned it as a Monte Carlo. And it got me thinking, I was like, drifting is such a unique sport. Ultimately, it's a spectator sport. Like, it's fun, you need to be a good driver, you need to have a lot of practice, whatever. But people love the cars. I mean, that's kind of just it. Like, there's so much culture behind drifting that, style is equally as important, if not more important, than the competition aspect. And especially because we have our company, Black Tie Detailing, shameless plug, 5-3 supply. We travel around, we do merch sales and sell stuff at our booth. I want my car to be not only a weapon on the track, but sort of a masterpiece and something pleasing to the eyes, something unique that gets people's attention. And so I started thinking, I was like, okay, well, he did that. I don't want to reskin a chassis because I don't have the facilities for that. I couldn't do that. So started brainstorming a few ways I could make the car unique. So here's where I was standing here. I love the 370Z. I think it's a great car. It's a great chassis, but the lineage of the Z chassis, the 370 breaks it. I don't know what it is about it's the headlights. The headlights are nothing like any of the previous Z. They have this weird thing going on. And honestly, I love the rest of the car. It's great. The taillights are fine. Like, the trunk is good. I wish it kind of had like the flowy booty of the 350Z, but whatever. I don't like the 400Z or the new Nissan Z, but I do love the headlights. I think the headlights pay homage to the rest of the lineage of the Z. So I thought to myself, I was like, the car already looks cool. I want to do something unique. So I decided I wanted to do a 400Z, I'm just going to call it that, 400Z headlight swap on the 370Z, just to make it look and appeal a little bit more sexy. It's been a lot of work, so I'm going to document the entire process for you guys so far. But without further ado, we're going to scoot onto this. I bought the headlights off eBay. Ironically, they're cheaper than 370Z headlights. So bought the headlights. I was like, you know what? It's not a very expensive try or risk, so let's go for it. The 400Z headlights are very different in shape, size, orientation. They are very different on the bumper itself, but the fenders was the first thing to tackle. Now, what I should have done in the first place, I did this way too late. I should have hard mounted the headlights, but it ended up working. So hard mount the headlights first if you want to end up doing this. I got a mock-up with some cardboard, filled in the gap, and then basically used that as sort of a template to start filling in with fiberglass. And that gave me a good idea. The easiest part of it was the inside of the headlights do line up with the hood the exact same way. So that was my only reference point. Everything aside from that, absolutely, completely 100% different. The only thing that matched up was where it aligned with the hood. Then basically, I got to choose where I wanted the headlight. No turning back now. Do it fit nice? Oh my. Oh dude. Holy cow. We really did it. Now obviously that's just step one. You guys tracking with me? Fill that in with fiberglass and then end up body working it. Check it out. 400Z headlights onto 370Z. Damn! Damn! What? Bruh. Be patient with me here. I have a lot of body work. Not really a lot, but I have body work to do. I think this is what the Z needs all along. Has needed all along. I think everybody should do this. King Solomon once said, there is nothing new under the sun. Now this is new under the sun, but the point still stands. Who cares? do cool stuff to your car. I can't stop looking at it. Once we moved into the Black Tie HQ, I started to get to work. I was like, you know what? I got to shop again. All my stuff's here, and that was very exciting. So I made the executive decision to go ahead and just plop this bumper on because I think it looks better, and it makes it still feel like a 370Z. After I made that decision, it was time to do a little bit more fiberglass work. I needed to fill a lot, and I just really want these to be thick. Worst case scenario, if they break, and I can just re-fiberglass it back together. I'm trying to cover all my bases here because it's a comp car, and the kit's gonna blow up. Like, fenders are gonna break, whatever. Before we knocked out the bumper, I needed to get the best idea possible with the fenders. I went back to re-glassing, doing some more fiberglass all over it, just to kind of give it some more structure and build up a little bit on the low spots. Fast forwarding from that, I got a good shape on it, and I realized, you know what? I've got to have these things hard mounted because one of them was like lopsided. Like, one of them was way lower, one of them was higher, one of them stuck out more, and I was like, you know what? These things move way too much. I've got to make my own mounts. So I made my own mounts. They're not perfect yet. I haven't finished them by any means. They're just, you know, they're kind of crappy, to be frank. But they keep the headlights in the correct place, at least enough for the mock-up for everything else. Mocking up those headlights allowed me to figure out exactly where to cut and where to, you know, re-glass for the fenders. The fenders were tough. They wouldn't have been if I would have just mounted the headlights in the first place, but once they were mounted, I got to work. I realized that there was a huge gap in some places, so needed to glass that. But the hardest part about the fenders, like getting the shape, like the V shape, was very easy. The hardest part was because I had no structure over here. It kind of sagged, and there was a huge gap from, you know, I'm gonna say from here to here, basically. Initially, this fender probably sat an inch or 25 millimeters below where the line of the hood was. But the biggest challenge here was trying to get the fiberglass close enough, not being too thick, because I obviously don't want it to be crazy heavy. Doing a bunch of glass work, filling in where I could, but also making it strong enough to where any body work that I do over it wasn't for nothing down the line. I still have work to do on the fenders. It's mostly just gonna be the alpha filler, like body filler, just smoothing it out. But yeah, honestly, this was probably the golden area right here. Very challenging to do. There was probably ways I could have done it better, but again, I was just using my tiny brain to figure this out. So this was a challenge. Now let's move on to the bumper and the rest of it. Knowing that I had a lot of fiberglass work ahead of me, I went ahead and started modifying the bumper as well. I took some measurements of the shape of the headlight on the bottom and in the front. Essentially, I kind of just had to chop up the front bumper and get it as close as I possibly could because of the shape. The shape of these headlights versus the 370s, absolutely like not even in the same ballpark, which I realized way after, and I was like, okay, what did I get myself into? So with that said, now the headlights are mounted. I have a rough shape for the fenders. It's gonna need a lot of fiberglass. So I sanded it down, got everything about as good as I needed it to be, and taped the crap out of the headlights. The best way to do all this is to glass over as much as you possibly can and then cut away as you need it instead of building more towards. And then with the bumper, it was interesting. And I had never done this before. This was literally me just having these random ideas out of my silly little head. So this was all guessing. Been watching any YouTube videos. I asked Tommy from the Spray Source a couple times for some pointers, but my idea for making and shaping the bumper, I know people do it differently, was just taking some masking tape, but I taped it off with masking tape and I got a rough shape of it. And so I just basically glassed as much as I possibly could. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, I was not prepared for the runs. I'm not talking about like Taco Bell runs. I mean, like, I did not prep for the epoxy. It got everywhere. Do not let it run all over your bumper because it's very hard to sand off. Takes a lot of time. Fiberglass the crap out of it, let it cure, and then from that point, I was honestly like, I got it pretty solid first try. So the bumper was good, the fenders were good, then it was time to get to cutting. I cut as best as I could. I sort of marked the shape of the headlights on both the bumper and the fender, and then mocked it back up again. For the fenders, there were some minor gaps. It didn't line up with the hood very well. There were a lot of little pieces towards the headlights that needed a lot of filler, but that is just that. I could just use long strand fiberglass filler for that. So that was easy, I knew that. What I needed to do with the bumper was at least solidify the design that I had so far. So I backfilled the fiberglass that sort of like molded the headlight to the bumper. Backfilled it with, again, long strand fiberglass so that whenever I started to do sanding, I wasn't just going to sand so much down that I went into oblivion and then had to reglass something. It might not be the most efficient, it might not be the best way possible, but it's my first time ever doing this, and I'm so like, it is so satisfying seeing something line up that is just not supposed to be there, that it never had been there initially. Got the fenders basically to where I wanted them. The bumper was going to be the most challenging point from here forward. Not only because the corner piece in the center of the headlights didn't line up and I had to fiberglass those, but you know, in order for it to give this sort of OEM feel, I needed something to sort of meet up to the bottom of the headlight. And again, headlight shape on these, very awkward, very weird. I cut the fiberglass away as best as I could and got the bumper mounted to the fender as properly as I possibly could, because that's important. And then from there, I taped off the headlight yet again, tried to backfill and fill the front as close as I could get to the headlight, and then start going from there. A huge mixture of, you know, block sanding with 80 grit, 180 grit, some 320, depending on how heavy I wanted to cut. Started filing down little by little, getting it to align as best as I could. And this is a very condensed version of this, but which essentially got us to this point. The headlights, as you can see, like they match pretty damn good to the bodywork. Again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I don't think I've ever been so excited about something that I've done with my own hands and my own work. Like, this is the most proud and excited and just stoked I've been on any car I have ever owned in my entire life. With the level of work, the hours that I've put in, and the itchiness that my body has survived has gotten me to the point where I am just very excited to share it with the world. You know what? I'm gonna tell you guys something. A lot of people live for the car community. I would love cars if there was no community at all. I could be the only person in the entire world that loved cars, and I would treat it and do it the exact same. I love cars. That's it. Also, big shout out to MA Performance. This Sibon hood was a huge, awesome addition. That was kind of another point that I glossed over in the video, but the hood that I initially had on the car, the OEM one that you saw it, actually on my first test day last year, the hood just flew up, but the mounts that were on the hood just didn't latch correctly. They wouldn't stay latched. So, which is why I ended up like cutting the vents and stuff. It wasn't really to look cool. It was actually because I couldn't get the hood back to straightness. So decided to do the vents, and I don't know, it ended up looking really cool. Because of that, the hood, it didn't give me a good line to follow with the fenders, or I didn't have a good reference point for where the fenders should line up. I was like, you know what, I have to put this new Sibon hood on, especially because sometimes carbon hoods, they don't always line up or fit correctly like OEM ones do. It's just how fiberglass is. It's never perfect. I put these babies on, which I'm very proud of, by the way. And they match so you can barely see them. Hood pins, had to do that. Hurt my soul a little bit to cut up a carbon hood, but it is what it is. You know, didn't ruin it, cut it up. So shout out to MA Performance. We're working with them, Fitment Industries, Vivid Racing this year on a lot of my different cars. And so this carbon hood really just sort of solidified the whole project, and it got me to align everything as best as possible. Now that brings us to where we're at right now. The bulk of the fiberglass work is done except for this right here. I need to build up and match the other side and just make it flow, probably bring the fiberglass up to about right yay, just to make it match. Honestly, I would love to know what you think. We've gotten a lot of feedback through the reels and the TikToks I've posted, and I'm gonna be real with you guys, very transparent, because you guys are my friends. This is the first time in a long time that I've done something and got good feedback for, and so it has made me so excited. But I do wanna know all opinions. What do you guys think about this in general? I think it's cool. I think it still keeps the lineage, the homage of the classic looking Z still intact. Modernizing it, of course, which I didn't mention this earlier, but the first reel I posted, Alpha Rex reached out, so they're sending LED headlights for this car, which they're my favorite headlights ever. But seriously, aside from the paint color, like, let me know what you guys think. And if there's any input, like, just comment. The comment section is open, dude. It's open for business. Let me know how I did. Let me know how you think the design is going so far. But the next time you see this car, it will be body worked, painted. All that stuff is really tedious and it's not fun to watch. I'll incorporate some of that in the paint video, but help me choose a color and we will get the car painted. I'm still itchy actually. I think I can see it in my clothes. These pants, I washed them. I think twice, 2 or 3 times, multiple times, and I can see fiberglass in them. I'm still itchy, and I think I did this like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. By the way, dude, that baby powder hack, you guys lied, dude. Doesn't work. Just wear long sleeves and just deal with the itch. I'm looking at my screen right now that shows me in the car, and this is so cool. I am very proud of this, which I encourage you guys to do. What's important is you use good products, like use good fiberglass, The Spray Source has really, really, really awesome, like all the stuff that he sells at the Spray Source, the absolute best quality. And I'm not saying that because he's my sponsor. I'm saying that because I chose to work with him because his products are so good, not just because he just started working with me. It is the best. So good products absolutely make a difference. I'm gonna do my absolute best to make it as smooth of a finish as possible because I have polishes, ceramic products, lots of detailing stuff that I need to be able to showcase on this car from blacktiedetailing.com, which you guys should definitely go and check out because it's the best products ever. They're not the cheapest, but it's because they're really, really, really good. Best wheel cleaner on the market, waterless wash, our ceramic clean, unbelievable. From our interior cleaners, our degreaser is even just the most slept on product on the planet. It's all very good stuff. And so I apply that same level of like care and love into our products as I do for this, because I don't want my name on something that's not at least done the best that I can do. So say a prayer for me that this thing doesn't absolutely blow apart the first time that I drive it, but I think it'll be solid. But you'll ask me like, oh, what's gonna happen when it inevitably blows apart? Well, mama ain't raised no coward, so I'ma do it again. But in order to do that, I'm going to, after I finish bodyworking this and make it as perfect as I possibly can, I'm gonna tape it off and essentially just create myself a fiberglass mold of the hardest part, which is basically this. From here, which I still haven't finished yet, all the way to basically here. So I'll have templates that I can either bolt on and reuse in bodywork or have a template to fill in and fix stuff. So I'll say this, guys, just try. That's one of the things that I've done the past couple of years that I've been upset at myself for not doing. But it's like, dude, if you have an idea, for one, don't let it sit on jack stands. Follow through with your idea and just try it the best of your ability. And also, don't bite off more than you can chew. Take it small and have fun. Practice, you know? Like this was practice for me. So it's not perfect, but it is what it is.